live now. Um, Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Plotlines. I'm your host, Connor. And if you like what we're doing here at Plotlines, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Join our Discord to continue the conversation outside of YouTube. And as well, if you another way to help support the channel is if you're interested in buying a rosary, please click the link below to Bishop Sheen Rosaries. Use Plotlines 10 and get 10% off your purchases. Today is Rings of Power Day. So that means I have Darren back with me, as well as Laurel's back. Awesomeness is back. And you were on a bit of a break from the show. You were dearly missed. So thanks for coming back, Laurel.
Yeah. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so this last episode of Rings of Power, I would actually say, in my opinion, was much better than all the others, but maybe I just like watching people finally struggle with challenges. Maybe I'm just happy with watching people suffer. Laurel, what were your reactions just to the episode?
Well, I mean, yeah, I kind of enjoyed how the episode started and everything. Putting aside some of the logic of some of it.
True.
It was just, it felt like I could empathize with lots of the characters for the first time in the whole series. So I was, I liked that. I felt like seeing the characters, they finally felt a little more real in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Only 7 episodes in. That's fantastic.
Actually, I guess it is 7, but it feels like 6 just because of the 2 episodes that were together.
Okay.
But yeah, so let's just start off that we got the lava coming down from Mount Doom, basically destroying the scenery, covering everything in ash and such, and making it red or making it orange for some. I don't know if that makes much sense, making it look orange, but that's what happened, and everyone is covered with whatever lava, soot, something like that. Yet Galadriel's fine, but other people die. There's no real logic of why certain people die and other people don't die. Darren, it's literally everyone is covered with the stuff.
Yeah.
So either everyone should be dead or no one should be dead.
It's not like elves and men or anything like that. It's just a random, this person dies and the other person lives.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, the weirdest part is that the characters don't even have any burns or anything.
Muriel does.
Well, sort of. Yeah.
She's the only one.
She gets, but it's not like burns that you'd get from that kind of thing compared to some of the extras that are all these burns and stuff, and and then you're just like, how did none of them get anything?
Well, maybe they didn't have the budget for
it. They had their plot armor. Plot armor is the only explanation for why all the main characters, none of them are really injured, except for one character who's totally not dead, but they want us to think is dead.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Which is so stupid. It's the worst person that you could think of who everyone should like. He's in the Lord of the Rings movies. If you know anything about the Lord of the Rings movies, he's alive, so he can't be dead now.
Mm-hmm.
Which also bizarre. She was married to Celeborn.
I know. Oh dear.
Darren, Galadriel was married to Celeborn, and he went off into a war and never came back.
Oh, so they actually finally brought Celeborn into this episode.
He was mentioned.
He was mentioned. So that's what happened to him. He just went off to seal his, he just kind of mysteriously disappeared.
Yeah, apparently Galadriel was Galadriel, her actual character when she met him, she was dancing and being happy in a forest, and it's basically barren and Luthien. And Celeborn came upon her, and they fell in love and got married, and then Celeborn went off to a war and never came back.
Okay. So
And
I guess they just didn't get that part cast for season 1, so they decided to drop hints that they're going to bring the character in season 2.
Yeah, that's kind of what it seems like. But where the heck did he go?
Middle Earth is a big place.
Yeah, but like,
I
Where
mean,
did he go?
where are the blue wizards?
Turn out-
Where did the blue wizards go? I mean, you don't know. East. That's all we know. They went into that unspoken east.
But what I mean more is, why would he disappear from a war that they won like impressively, and then never come back?
I don't
Like,
know.
It's
That's just
completely
weird.
illogical.
I don't know.
I mean,
I can't tell you what they're thinking.
I'm at least slightly interested in what happened to him. That's the one thing I'm like, oh, I actually want to know what happened to this character's plot, and it's not a character we've ever met yet. It's just
well, and I believe in like the Similarian, Rillian, whatever that book is called. I believe that the
Darren
story
can't
of
pronounce
Galadriel and Celeborn, like they stay in that Eregion area, and like kind of help Elrond create Rivendell too, before crossing over the mountains into in like late in the second age, before heading over to Lothlorien.
Yeah. Well, so in the episode, Galadriel is hanging out with Theo, the Southland boy, who basically is blaming himself for giving up the sword that basically destroys all of the Southlands and makes it Mordor.
And if I remember from the last episode we did, he did give that's a appropriate guilt, right?
Yes, no, that's pretty appropriate. And she's like, "Oh, don't feel bad about it at all. It's not your fault."
Yeah, no, he probably should feel bad about it. It is entirely his fault.
They have it's not your fault pity party. Like like Theo tells her that it's not like that. Galadriel thinks it's her fault that everything happened, and blames herself. And Theo says, "No, it's not your fault." And Darren well, I called you Sauron yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Twitter called you Sauron, or whatever default texting or whatever autocorrect. But anyways, so Theo told or says that it's his fault, and Galadriel's like, "No, it's not your fault. Don't feel bad." Yeah, pity party.
Yeah.
I don't know how it would be Galadriel's fault. She didn't do anything to cause the. I mean, she didn't look at but she didn't even know what the hilt looked like.
Yeah,
she was
knew
just
nothing
told
going in
to get this thing. So like, it's not her fault. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know how she could. I guess she blames herself for not finding out earlier. Well, I mean, yeah, it is kind of silly. She didn't know that symbol was the Southlands, because it looks just like it. And it took her so long. But besides that, there's really no reason that she'd make sense for her to be like, it's all my fault.
It sounds like some terrible editing. Like on other shows, like I'm a fan of a few other shows, and I've listened to their commentary and about how like they edit shows, and they're like, oh, here's this deleted plot line, and so here it shows up in this episode, and people probably thinking, I don't understand what this even means, it doesn't make sense, but then it shows up, and so it's like, here's this major scene, it's like, oh, we got to capture that, but maybe they deleted the scenes that would like actually help tie it together and be like, yes, this actually makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think they deserve that kind of credit.
Oh, well, hey, it could be bad at editing, maybe, or it could be terrible writing, and they never even wrote the scene to begin with. I don't know.
Yeah. anyways, and then so we got Muriel dealing with the aftermath as well, and Elendil, and basically Isildur also finds like one of his friends died, and the other friend lived, the guy who became a lieutenant. I think it was a lieutenant, survives, but then Isildur dies basically in after some fiery building falls on him. So that's something.
Kind of a the Gladden Falls like prequel, like the foreshadowing.
I don't know. Well, they think he died.
Foreshadowing.
He definitely didn't die. There's no way he died.
He's too integral to the plot.
He's too important. Also, his horse, I don't think, believes that he's dead either.
Yeah. Oh well, that's important.
Yeah, and the horse knows everything.
Right. Just like Aragorn's horse and the Two Towers, right?
It's gonna definitely, they're gonna do a parallel of the part with Aragorn's horse in the Two Towers. They're definitely gonna do some parallel thing there. I as soon as he didn't, the horse thing, I was like, oh, that's what they're gonna do. They're like, we need to be reminiscent of Peter Jackson's films.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm getting with like Durin and Elrond. It feels very much like Gimli and Legolas. They're just trying to make a bromance, basically. But it's done better than most things, I think.
But the bromance should be a get between Celebrimbor and the dwarves, not Elrond.
Yeah, but Celebrimbor isn't in this episode, so we can't have that.
I know. Well,
he hasn't interacted with any dwarves.
What?
Yeah.
Given the fact that his name is on the door of Moria?
No, not even a meeting. No, like they've never been in. Like the only scene that they were in was a dinner scene, and Celebrimbor didn't speak in that scene.
Wow.
It was just Gilgalad, Elrond, and Durin, and Durin lied, and basically just was being an idiot. About a table that he said was sacred.
Did they read the book before they started writing this?
Oh, probably not.
Probably read Wikipedia.
I just realized, like,
did some Wikipedia research.
At the end of the in the credits, Simon Tolkien is credited.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's terrible. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Simon Tolkien is Christopher's son, who's kind of
Yeah.
he's the grandson of Tolkien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he thinks himself some sort of writer. I think he's written a few books or whatever. So.
Oh yeah. So he thinks he could probably better master his grandfather's lore.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be in his grandfather's shadow or something.
Yeah.
Or he wants, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know what the mentality would even be, except for I don't know. I don't know what at all.
So I did find out some, I know this doesn't exactly relate to the episode. I did find out some interesting trivia about Tolkien. Do you know he died in 1973?
Yes.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Why?
Because it's 1 ring, 9 for the men, 7 for the dwarves, 3 for the elves. 1973. Oh. He died on the ring year.
Okay. I never thought of that. Interesting. But yeah, so we got who else aftermath wise? We got Elendil and Muriel meet up, and Elendil gets all sad because his son's dead. And Muriel,
he's dead.
Yeah, and Muriel is blind.
Oh, wow. Well, that's probably how Pharazôn usurps the throne, right? So we can't have a blind person.
Maybe that's what they're going.
That blind person can't lead. They're blind.
Like instead of forced into marriage, it's
just
blind people.
I would be surprised if they even follow that storyline, given the Games of Thrones controversy and given the fact that they have kind of created some of the storylines that they've thrown into this, they might be trying to stay away from that. Because that might be that they might look. I mean, look at Galadriel. Like they're trying to make her look like a really strong, independent woman. Like they're not gonna put Muriel through that kind of abuse.
Yeah, I from the beginning was thinking they're probably not gonna have a forced marriage of a woman in this show, because that is unacceptable. A woman would never allow that. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it seems unlikely that they would do that. So, but like, I just think it's a funny rationale instead to go with blind people can't rule. Like, just pick a different reason to.
Well, how's she able to read what she's signing, right? Maybe she signs over the kingdom, right?
We don't know if they sign anything.
That's fair.
We literally don't know anything about this kingdom at all.
Yeah. Well,
she doesn't. I mean, this whole thing doesn't make much sense because she doesn't even know people in her own family.
I mean, she doesn't know people in her, like even in the show, like the way they have it, like she's like, I don't know this person.
Yeah, she doesn't know Elendil. She doesn't know Farazan as her like cousin. Like,
she's like, so they do have Farazan and Muriel as like related.
No, they don't. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying we don't understand how this kingdom works because we don't even know like anything about it, because they won't tell us anything except for if you see an elf, you think they're going to steal your job.
Which is so weird, given the fact that the elves gifted all the trees on Numenor.
Yes, well, I mean, they're trying to go for they don't remember history, but they're doing that very poorly too. Anyway, so we got Muriel, and is blind, and Elendil's trying to hide that from people. I think that's what it seems like, as well as hide his own sorrow and stuff like that. And then Galadriel helps Theo get back to the camp, and also Elendil has a moment where he's like, "I wish I never picked up Galadriel from that boat." Or into the boat. She was trapped on the sea, and he picks her up. But anyways, I just think that was kind of interesting. But also, like Darren said, what did Galadriel do? She didn't really do anything to really get anybody in this situation. It was all just Theo did it, and everything else was just happenstance. But anyways, so then we got Galadriel comes in and learns that Halbrand's been, it looks like, stabbed. He doesn't look like he doesn't look like lava fell on him. He looks like he got stabbed.
Must have been some debris or something, like a rock that shot through him or something. I don't know.
Shot through him.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's just weird. And now they're going to go make a trip. She's like, he needs elvish medicine.
Yes, so he's in such poor condition. We need elvish medicine, so we're gonna make him ride a horse all the way to
Linden.
The elf, yeah,
to all the way to Linden, from Mordor to Linden.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a long way. That's like my goodness, that's like the 3-month adventure.
Yeah,
at least with making like good time. Like, I mean, the Fellowship of the Ring took a year to make that trip. Like, oh my gosh,
he's bleeding out, and he's taking a horse to Linden. Well,
like, why don't they just create a portal? Like, just you know what, we're gonna like Warcraft this whole thing. Like, there we go.
I mean, at least if they went by sea, they would get there faster, but they choose to go on foot or on horse. And And then we learned that Bronwyn's alive, even though they psych us out. They make us think she's a body, and then she's not that body.
They
And she
keep
like
being
breathes.
like,
Oh,
she's dead. Oh, nope, she's not. They've done that 2 episodes in a row.
I
They
know.
need
I
to
thought they were
stop
actually
that,
going to
'cause
kill
no
her
one
this time.
believes it.
I was really hoping.
yeah.
gonna-
It's like, this
what
is
they're
not an
gonna
interesting
do-
character. Kill her. Kill her.
Well, like her
They're gonna
interesting part could be
pretend
her
she
death.
dies. They're gonna pretend she dies 2 episodes in a row.
Mhm.
And so on the last episode, when she really does die, no one's, I don't know, like I don't understand. Like now that they've psyched you out, like it feels like they can't kill her now, because that would just seem silly.
Yeah.
To be
and really,
like, to keep being like, oh, she's dead. Oh, she's not dead. Oh, she's dead. No, she's not dead. Now
I don't
if they,
know,
like,
guys.
kill her,
Earlier on in
it's like
South
the-
Park, they killed Kenny every episode. How did he come back? I mean,
Darren.
come on.
Okay, and then Theo is very excited
Sorry.
when he runs into his mother again, and he's even excited when he runs into Rondir, who he's hated the entire show. So that's exciting. Character change. So he's becoming good, and then Rondir, Bronwyn, Theo are all going to move to Pelargir.
I don't think I've ever heard of that place in the books.
It's a Numenorian city / colony. It's a city of Gondor.
Oh, okay. So it's basically, so they finally have Numenor starting to create settlements in Middle Earth then.
No, it's actually apparently an old colony.
Oh, okay.
Wha-
I don't
Old
know.
colony of men.
How can
This
you
is
No.
the colony of men that they are going to eventually like.
an old colony of Numenor?
An old
Yeah,
colony.
like they never even established there were colonies.
Or
I don't
their
think
navy? They have like
in the
6
show.
ships.
They
Yeah.
act like they've never been to Middle Earth.
That's
So
so
it's like-
Yeah.
yes,
Well,
they
I mean,
do.
in the books they clearly have, like even to the point that by the time that
Yeah.
that you're supposed to get to this part in the timeline of the story, they've actually, some of the stewards of the Middle Earth colonies are actually bad because they're basically like enriching themselves off of them.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they haven't.
Which I really thought they'd go with that. I mean, I guess they will later on probably, because like, they're all like, that's the way that, like they want, if they want to give social commentary, I thought that's the obvious thing they'd go for is, these colonizers. But
Well,
Yeah, I thought that's what
the
they would
only
go with
people
too.
Well,
haven't done
it's
that
just weird because Tolkien's story actually like lends itself to a lot of things that they seem like they want to do without having to like
yeah.
recreate the whole thing and confuse everybody with the timeline. Like they're trying to pretend like, oh, well, this is after Belleran fell into the sea and nobody knows what happened after this. And it's like, actually, Tolkien does give a little bit of direction on what happened in the Second Age. Like it's not complete, but he does give some kind of
Yeah.
indication that the rings were created around 15 to 1600. So technically we're before that time, but Farazan isn't even born until 3118. So it's like, we're way off.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But what irks me most is just them saying an old colony as if they've colonized already, which doesn't make any sense. And then but it sounds like they've abandoned it for no apparent reason either. Because if it's an old colony, and then she's like, I hear there's a lot of land open. Like, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So apparently,
See,
Mhm.
I thought they were gonna go up like north and start Rohan or something, because
I
they
think
don't have
Rohan
land
doesn't
yet.
really start until
Yeah. Well,
the third.
yeah, that's in the
Yeah,
middle of
but-
the Third Age.
this is they don't really care in this show, so like they could legitimately have them start, be the, go up towards Rohan, and found Rohan.
or they could just be a
because-
completely different people.
They
Yeah,
could.
well, they
they
could follow.
but I'm
They
just
could
saying the
found.
show, like with the
Yeah.
names they chose to give them, they sound very like similar.
Yeah.
They could found Rovanian, who eventually become Rohan. That
Yeah.
could have made some sense.
Yeah. Or they
Um,
could have become the Men of Dale.
That too.
Yeah.
That but there's no, except the only people up there to interact with at the moment are the hobbits.
Ah.
So I don't know. Anyways, but around here, it really seems like he's gonna settle down with Bronwyn. That's what it seems like, that they're gonna like get married. So elf and man marriage again, which, I mean, it's kind of annoying that they keep that, like they want to have more of this, because I don't know, it takes away from the interesting nature of it.
Mhm.
Keep having more of it. They really should have just, gotten the rights to the Silmarillion, where all of this stuff actually makes sense in. But they didn't. So that. It is what it is. Now, so like Halbrand is becoming to me even more like Sauron, basically. The fact that him and Galadriel are now going up to Lindon or to Eregion just makes me
Oh.
think, like, they're like, this is definitely happening. He's
Yeah, I
definitely
mean,
Sauron.
Yeah.
that's starting to make sense now. Like if that's gonna, like, how does he get into that area? Well, yeah, Galadriel brings him there, and then he's like starts sharing his craft with them. Sure,
Mm-hmm.
that would
Yeah.
make sense. Yeah.
He meets Celebrimbor and Bor, and they start working together, and and
Well, it's
so
it's an entire guild of elves that he starts working together. It's not. I mean, Celebrimdor is like the most talented, but it's an entire guild
I
of.
know, but they're not gonna pay for more actors. That would be ridiculous. They can't even afford Celeborn at the moment.
Yes, apparently, right.
He's only
Well, they have such a small budget to work with, right?
such a small budget. But yeah, so then we switch over to the hobbits, who, okay, I swear they're trying to rehabilitate the hobbits as like a good folk that doesn't leave anyone behind,
But they
even
were
though
good
they
folk.
read what?
They were good folk. What do you mean to rehabilitate?
The Harfoots have
The
been
Harfoots
bad.
in the previous episodes were read off of a book of people that they lost, that they just left behind, that died.
Oh,
And they threatened to leave behind the main Harfoots that we were supposed to care about.
Yeah.
And then they like basically threatened to like destroy their wheels and leave them for dead.
well, see, last episode we didn't talk about Harfoots because they weren't even in the episode.
Yeah, exactly. So you missed the whole part. You've missed all the parts where. Anyways, so Gandalf is now helping grow trees.
Wait, when did Gandalf get in here?
He's a stranger that fell from the sky that a Harfoot
And
found.
we think he's Gandalf. They're hinting at the fact he's Gandalf, but they're also saying he might be Sauron.
Yeah, but Halbrand's totally Sauron.
Yeah, neither of them are fair enough looking. I'm kind of annoyed.
That
Sauron should've
the old stranger's not fair enough.
You
Well, I don't
Well,
think they're going
if
for
it's
that.
Gandalf, he's not supposed to be fair.
know, that's the thing is, no, if he's supposed to be like Anatar comes and he's all fair and like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think, you think of him really nice looking, but like Halbrand's not that nice looking. He's just got like these fish eyes and stuff. I don't know.
Maybe it's just your taste.
Don't get me wrong. He's like Halbrand is definitely not like.
I've never seen the show.
It's just he looks like a knockoff Aragorn.
He's just, yeah. I mean, he just looks like an average guy.
All right,
You know?
I gotta see what this guy looks like. Hey,
He's not. Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely looks like an Aragon. Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like that's what they're going for.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's because they just did a whole thing where he's the king of the Southlands.
Return of the King of the Southlands.
Yeah,
Ah.
they basically claiming he's the king, Return of the King, but
Yeah.
the whole thing
Yeah.
got the whole area got destroyed. So I guess that didn't work out.
Well, did he destroy it?
He probably did.
Sorry.
So Adar is basically proclaiming the free folk of Mordor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so we got Elrond. Well, Durin is basically telling his father now that that we need to give the Mithril to the elves to save them, and he's not, and the king's not having it. Doesn't want to do it. And Durin has a lot of really really emotional moments with Elrond because Elrond's gonna die because they need Mithril to survive, which is a really stupid storyline and doesn't make any
No.
sense. But that's
Elves don't die. That's crazy.
That's where we're at. And then basically Disa insults his father. He gets annoyed with that, and then then he gets shot down again, and then they're okay with making fun of, or making fun of the king. And then Elrond and Durin decide to, even though they are supposed to not do this, they decide to mine the Mithril by themselves. They find it. The king catches them. He throws out. The king throws Elrond out of the Cause of Doom, and basically Durin is disinherited. Maybe.
I guess that's what it seems so overly dramatic. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, a lot of this show does seem like it's a CW show.
Like, okay, so the last straw was him saying, like, the last straw for the father is like saying that Elrond is like a brother to him, and he's like, that's too far, you're no longer gonna become king. Like, I was like, okay,
Interesting.
So-
I could understand if he said somebody was like his father.
I mean, that would make sense if they were like the dwarves that like fought Doriath,
yeah, but like
or the
They're
dwarves
not.
that fought
there's no
Doriath. Sorry.
hint at that. They
Right.
haven't hinted at like why he would dislike the elves so much and be so offended. It's just
Yeah, it's not like
suddenly
they took their most precious necklace or something like that. That was a whole different set of dwarves.
Yeah. So it's just really weird and sort of and like it's an okay storyline in some ways, but I also we're not really given any reasons for it happening. So it's like it's well acted, but that's about it. Like the writing isn't clear enough on why any of the stuff is happening.
yeah.
Oh, but I did forget the Harfoots. Basically, I started to talk about them, and then
Mhm.
Gandalf comes across a tree in.
Are they eating in their basic Hobbit schedule, or has that not been established yet?
No.
They are nomadic people, so nothing makes sense.
So,
They
okay,
eat
so
when they can find food.
Yeah,
they eat when they find food, but they don't have like set times to like, oh, look, we need second breakfast or anything.
No.
No, they're really not like hobbits at all, except
Okay,
they're just-
so they're not charming people. They're just little,
they're dirty little
no,
like lawn gnomes, basically.
yeah, kind of.
Yep. Except for nobody's captured them yet.
Right. Okay. Got it.
To put in their lawns. They're yeah.
I mean, that's what they basically are. I mean, they live in like hills and like they're right.
Yeah, and they're trying to hide.
And they
basically.
garden. Like it makes sense.
No, they don't garden. They just forage.
Right, but the hobbits in the Shire will
Yeah.
eventually like garden, right?
I know, but I'm just saying
Okay.
that these Harfoots basically find food in food. Basically, they eat berries, and it's
Eat
really weird.
snails.
Well, so
They eat
when
snails and berries.
so I guess the question is when do we meet Smeagol?
What?
Well, obviously that has to be part of the whole thing, right? Like, will they take it to the Gladdenfields? Like, well, is Smeagol gonna like eventually be part of the Harfoot clan? And like, oh, here's this guy named Smeagol.
I guess they could do that, but
I mean, that would really compress the timeline.
And
That'd be-
that would really. Hey, it's already compressed. I mean, Isildur is alive, right? So
no,
we know that-
Isildur's
I mean,
dead.
Isildur is already alive. He only lives 200 years.
No, he's
we don't know
dead.
how.
He got killed.
Well, okay. We know he's gonna come back unless this is like
They
a
just have
whole nother set of
his
Isildur
sister
and
take his
Pharazôn
place.
and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, oh, well, there'll be more of them in later, right?
Well, Anarion exists, so maybe Anarion will just take his spot. Nah, he's coming back, or his sister. His sister's the worst character
his,
on the show.
his sister's just gonna take his role from now on.
She literally has no characterization except
know.
for do these things. Don't explain why. Don't tell us
she's
why.
just there to give out honeydew lists.
She basically she protested the war.
Yeah, she's a hippie.
Oh, fantastic. So she walks around barefoot and like with the streamer, be like, no war
But she's also
for
an
Numenor.
engineer.
Hey, that rhymes. No war for Numenor. No war for Numenor.
She's also an engineer.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah. Well, it's very nice. Very
Yeah.
Yeah, she probably is in university taking like gender studies or something.
Even
Well,
though she's in the
well-rounded,
engineering,
right?
Yeah. even though she's in the engineering guild, she's taking gender studies. Totally.
Well, it's both.
Well, she's gonna get the degree no matter what she does.
Right.
Doesn't matter. But yeah, so who knows if Isildur comes back? I assume he will. That wouldn't make much sense.
One has to assume, right?
Yeah.
But it'll be this
somebody to
dramatic,
die.
like coming back at the end of like the next episode, right?
Oh well, yeah, because the horse ran off to find him.
Ah, yeah, of course.
So the horse is gonna pick him up somewhere, which I don't understand how it makes sense because everybody was there. A bunch of people were there when it fell on him.
And they just left him.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, he's dead.
Oh, they're like the Harfoots.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
he's
that.
dead. We're leaving. Move
All right.
on.
Whoa. Hey, death. Let's get away from this plague.
Yeah. Anyways, the Harfoots. So Gandalf, they come across like dead trees, and then Gandalf basically rebirths the tree.
Yeah, he heals them.
He heals the tree,
They were like
and then
scorched.
and then he goes.
Well, how does that happen? He doesn't even have Narya yet.
Or a staff.
He's so much more
maybe the tree will
power-
give him a staff as a thank you.
No, the tree
has all
he
these
left.
powers.
The tree's already destroyed.
Okay.
Anyways, so basically, I mean, he has some power, but still, it's very un-Gandalf, un-Gandalfy, the way he uses them. That he just uses them without any anything like what is it? Veiling his power. He's just kind of like he just uses it, and it just happens, and things happen, and he doesn't really know what he's doing, and then they basically decide to send him off. He's looking for stars, a constellation of some sort.
Constellation.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you haven't seen that constellation for 1,000
Oh yeah, it
years."
rises in the east in the summertime. You should go see it. Get away from us.
Anyways, they send him away, and they as they get to Greenwood.
Okay.
So they're basically where they should be seeing like some of the.
Is this
The
going to be
elves should
like?
be there at that time.
Is this going
Yeah,
to be
they
like
should
that?
see- They should see Thandril.
Yeah, or what? Yeah,
Legolas.
His dad should be ruling at this point.
No, or oh yeah,
right?
Thranduil's father should, yeah.
Uh-huh.
You could even see Legolas.
Yeah.
Well, assuming Legolas is born in the second age, right?
Well, they don't
Because-
give any information
we
about
don't
when.
know.
Because Elrond's sons and Arwen aren't born until the early in the third age.
Yeah, but just
Yeah,
my
I
point is,
would've
Because he's
Tolkien
not even married
probably-
until the end of the second age.
Tolkien doesn't tell us when Legolas is born, anyways.
Oh
No.
yeah, it's if we had him in it, he'd be like a kid. I'm assuming.
Sure, but
I don't think that
I want.
because they have like Elrond being kind of young and Galadriel being young for no reason. She doesn't have her daughter even born yet, so like
Well, when does her
This
daughter
doesn't
even
have
get
to make
born?
sense.
I don't know.
I mean,
her daughter should be born by this point.
well,
I mean,
but Celeborn went
Celeborn
off
has
to
to be in the
war.
picture, though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He went off to war.
Maybe
and
she
then
all
disappeared.
maybe her daughter went off to war with Celeborn. She just never mentions her.
Yeah.
That'd
Right.
actually be hilarious.
Well, the question is are they going to suggest that she gives birth to Amaroth too?
What?
So in the notes for Galadriel, and the unfinished tales, they talk about how there's two kind of stories about her where she might even give birth to Amaroth, who is the king of Lothlorien before Galadriel and Celeborn enter in. So I mean, there's also that chance that she could have two. So it doesn't even need. She doesn't even have to have Celeborn born. Like they could have her giving birth to like a son, like Amaroth too.
She needs a husband first that's
Well,
alive
true.
and present.
And then we'll have to see how they do the whole elvish pregnancy too, because it technically takes a full year.
Yeah, but they don't need a full anything in this show. It just
Well, I mean, they
just
could
can pop
they
out.
could pick up the next season and be like,
The
oh,
pregnancy.
they have a kid. Look at that.
compress the pregnancy.
Well, it's like, oh, and then 5 years go by, like here, like
Well,
and pick up the next season, because like
they're-
they have to do something to like actually introduce the rings of power in a show called Rings of Power.
Yeah, I think they're gonna. Yeah, I
Well,
don't.
Halbrand might have them already somehow.
Well, I mean, technically,
I think Celebrimbor. Names are too similar. Is because there's like a teaser thing, and he's like, oh, we have something for the next episode that kind of shows that he's like talking about how now we can we can forge real power or whatever, something like that, so it's, of course he's gonna be doing something, and if Halbrand shows up there and,
like I'm healed, the mithril
he's gonna
got
be
me.
like,
Yes.
"Oh."
Well, actually, the thing is, I
think
really
he's
think
gonna be-
I don't think they're going to continue on the Mithril story. I think it's just going to redirect Celebrimbor to make the Rings of Power for everyone to survive.
yeah, they're gonna be like, well, if we make these rings of power,
And then they're just going to say that Sauron stole the information and made one in secret that like made a ring of all. I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense, but like it just a timeline wise, they still could have done a little bit better.
None
I
of
don't
it
know.
makes sense. But Halbrand is.
timelines.
I mean, they're definitely compressing the timeline of Galadriel and Halbrand, making it to Linden.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
have to.
I mean, yeah,
He's-
because I mean, it's not gonna take them. I mean, it takes them probably more than 3 months to make that ride. I mean, Boromir took what, almost like 120 days or something like that to travel from Gondor to Rivendell the first time or something like that.
and like things aren't like paved in any capacity. Like there aren't roads yet at all. I don't think in that area that they're coming from until Eriador that there might be something, but it's just ridiculous. They really should just take a ship. I don't know why they don't, except for that Numenor is cranky at this point. And I mean Numenor, I mean Elendil and Muriel, who's blind. And they have a whole moment where Muriel or Galadriel kneels before Muriel. Muriel's like, no, blind. She's blind. Just a reminder at this point. And she says, nobody kneels in Numenor, and Galadriel's like, we're not in Numenor.
I can kneel to you all I want.
I don't know. Is there?
I'm empowered. I can kneel to whoever I want. It's just weird. It's just a weird thing to like be upset. I don't know. It's just
Yeah, I don't get the whole kneeling thing. It's a dumb cultural. It's a dumb cultural point that has no basis in anything.
Yeah. Oh yeah, back to the Harfoots.
Oh right, yes, Harfoots. I can't stay on one topic regarding the Harfoots. Harfoots. Gandalf goes away. Creepy androgynous wizard ladies show up, burn all their burn everything they have.
Yeah.
burn everything the Harfoots have.
Yeah, they just burn the Harfoots carts and stuff.
Yeah, and they also it's
for no reason.
Basically, basically, I mean, for some reason, what's her name? Nori pops out and is like, he didn't go that way. She sees them going some direction. He didn't go that way. He went this way. Somehow she knew they were looking for him.
Yeah, they're looking for Gandalf.
It's funny because the direction she actually points them in seems like the direction he actually went. So I was confused. I was like, is she misdirecting
or trying to help them?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe she knows that they won't trust her.
Yeah, because it looks like they're going in the wrong direction, and then it looks like she points them in the right direction. So I don't know.
It's just like that
I just don't think they understand directions in this show.
Also, some of the debris from Mordor makes it all the way to Greenwood.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a big volcanic eruption, I mean, maybe.
It makes it all the way to Greenwood?
Hey, when Mount St. Helens blew, it stopped. Like, there was some debris that, like, got all the way to, like, Missouri. Like, it was hazy.
Never mind.
Yeah,
that might be reasonable then.
Yeah.
It's just like, so it's like everything in that whole area between Mordor and Greenwood, like, destroyed now. Like, that's what it makes it seem like.
Yeah, that you'd assume that if it made it all the way to Greenwood, like the beginning of Greenwood, everything else in between would be destroyed. But barely things are destroyed. It just seems like they're covered in soot.
Is Greenwood Mirkwood?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before it becomes
Before it becomes murky. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. Before it becomes murky. Yeah. Anyways, so that's basically the situation.
They the hobbits are like, we need to go help the stranger after their things gets burned down. So then they form like a fellowship of Harfoots which is weird.
Yeah, a fellowship of Harfoots. Where
it's like, I'll go too.
This was my favorite.
So I guess that explains why Gandalf is fond of him.
Maybe. But this is my favorite line from the show. There's this, or not directly line, but the conversation. This lady who has been wanting Nori and all her friends dead, basically, for the whole time, basically says, "Oh, she was right the whole time. We should have been helping the stranger." And then she tells the old like guy who knows things, sort of, to go along with the fellowship, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I it's so annoying when you're always right." And I'm like, she literally just admitted a second ago that she was wrong the whole time. How was she right the whole? What?
Yeah, well, yeah. So in the episode 2 episodes ago, when she was like, "We should leave them stranded to die," was she right then?
Yeah, like what the actual heck is she talking about? Is that supposed to be ironic? Like, is he being sarcastic the entire time?
It's like, women are always right.
Maybe they could have like done something there where the hobbits learned to distrust outsiders and big people. I don't know.
Wait,
but,
what do you mean?
They already it sounds like they already have a mistrust of strangers.
They
already do. Yeah. Wait, but who were you talking about that they would have distrusted?
I don't know. I thought you guys. Listen, I haven't seen the show.
These
so
are
I'm
all
just-
Harfoots that we're talking about.
right, Harfoots.
Yeah.
They're not.
Like
They wouldn't.
they're not really
distrust-
hobbits. As you're
Yeah,
saying.
I'm saying, but they're
And
not
they shouldn't.
distrusting each other. I'm saying
Right.
they're the only people that they would learn to distrust are each other, not distrust others in this situation.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
Yeah. Seems like they're learning to be more accepting of outsiders or something,
But not
which doesn't
really.
make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just going
one.
back and forth. They can't decide on anything. Nobody in this show can decide on
Yeah,
anything.
because everyone's personality switches back and forth. Like Galadriel's over here telling Theo that, oh, it's not, you shouldn't say it's good that I killed lots of orcs
That's true.
because and I'm like, you were just saying you wanted to kill all the orcs
Like all of them.
brutally and have the, Adar guy watch while you
Watch
kill
as you
all
kill
the
them.
orcs. And then kill him last after, like, well, it's bad to say it's good that I've killed orcs. Like, what?
Yeah, because it's bad to say that it's good that you did something bad,
Yeah. Like,
which
maybe
it's just very circular
take
logic.
Your own advice, Galadriel.
Well,
Because
yes.
you can't keep going back and forth between seeming wise and not acting wise.
Well, she's not wise. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
but she's supposed to be seen, she's giving all this advice to this boy, but I'm like,
But
you
yeah,
aren't the kind of person who should be giving that
advice to anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only good part I thought was like it seemed like she was referencing that she was very different and like actually like Galadriel before Celeborn disappeared, which makes me more think that it's not Finrod's death that makes her like this. It's actually Celeborn
Yeah,
that makes her like
but
this. 'cause
that's the weird thing is because they never even like they didn't show that that's affected her because they never even brought him up until
They never had an actor to play him
This
until now.
episode. They just
No,
make
they
it all
don't have
about
an actor
Finrod.
to. They still don't have an actor to play him.
They
Yeah,
could
they
they couldn't write him
probably-
into the story because they haven't cast him yet.
Yeah.
See, they couldn't have him in this season because they needed Galadriel to be all, this personality brooding and stuff like that. And and she needs to be all off on her own and everyone's against her kind of personality. And that doesn't work if she's got a husband, I guess. Because she should be with him.
Well,
I
because
guess
it
that's
makes
what
it does make
Yeah.
sense though. It doesn't make sense
Yeah.
why they decided to make her the center of the story. There are plenty of other characters that could have been the center of the story.
they should have made like who we we
Hold
don't
on,
really know
Laurel,
a
you
whole
cut
lot
out,
about.
so just
no.
start over. What you were saying.
Oh, I cut out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, they could have taken Galadriel's daughter, Celebrian, and made her a character in this, and had her be the haughty young elf woman. Not make her like they made Galadriel, because that's a horrible personality for an elf. but like made her the character, and then she meets Elrond and stuff, and they fall, like that makes sense. That would have been a good love story that they could have had in there, and that could have developed through the seasons. They could have had this, and they had her character, but now like Elrond's this like grown, and then they haven't even, and so like they might have the daughter as a
Yeah, then that's
baby,
gonna be
and
weird.
even though
Yeah,
we know
that's
that they
gonna
were born at different times, seeing that is very weird for people when they see that's a
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah,
You're gonna
kind of like Twilight, right?
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it would be really smart if they had Celeborn come into the show and he's like carrying a baby, or not carrying a baby,
Yeah.
or he's
Or he's like, here, our daughter fought valiantly in the war.
yeah, like that kind of thing. Like he's somewhere.
And that's the
daughter-
whole reason Galadriel was broody the whole time. Is like because she wasn't telling anybody that he took her daughter away from him too.
or it's because she's in postpartum depression.
Yeah, or something. I don't know.
She like she's like on an eternal postpartum depression. It's special for elves. Once you have a child and that child's taken away from you, you just get extremely
Hey,
moody until
you
you
know,
see her again.
there's not a whole lot mentioned of like elves having large families. So
Yeah,
Well,
there's
well,
just Feanor, all his kids, but that's like the biggest elf family.
yeah, well, not just Feanor. Well, I guess Finway only has 3, but he has all the
Yeah.
kids have other kids. But what's interesting what Darren and I were talking about, if they should have done at least a love triangle between Celebrimbor,
Celeborn.
Galadriel, and Celeborn.
Yeah,
Like,
but they
that's
made Celebrimbor too old, so it would be a little weird.
Come on, it could still work.
Yeah, actually,
It's like,
it's-
oh, Celebrimbor, you're so much more mature than my husband. You would never run off to war. You're so much safer.
to be fair, that actor playing Celeborn had like a romance with like a 20-something-year-old in Downton Abbey. So
Oh yeah, that's true, and that was weird too.
But I'm just saying it.
Oh, is that
like,
that guy?
That's happened
Yeah.
before. Yeah.
Yes. It's just he's just weird. Like he's a good actor. I just don't understand why they cast him in that role.
Darren, you've seen Downton Abbey, right?
I think I know the actor that you're talking about. Yeah.
It's the guy who plays a journalist.
And isn't he the one that like dates one of the staff of the? I must be thinking of somebody else.
No, he dates Edith.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then gets killed by Hitler.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think we kind of. Is there anything missing that I've left out?
I can't really think of. Oh well, the Balrog.
Oh right, yes.
The princes of Morgoth are still roaming, huh?
Well, King Doran wakes up the Balrog in Moria by dropping a leaf.
Yep.
Into a chasm.
He drops a leaf into the place of the Mithril, and that awakens the Balrog.
But Moria doesn't get defiled until like 1900 in
Stop
the Third
questioning
Age.
This.
Everything has to happen at once in this show. They have to have everything happen. That's why they had to have Mordor be created in it.
Do you think?
Well, Mordor existed though in the Second Age. Like, but Barad-dûr was built by 1600. Well, yeah,
but it should have already been an.
It should have already been Mordor. It shouldn't be being created. I get what you're saying now.
Do you think season 8? Do you think season 8 will be Lord of the Rings? Like it's just gonna whatever however long it goes.
I'm
the last
assuming
season's gonna be Lord of the Rings.
I'm assuming it'll end with like Isildur's death, or
Smeagol probably.
They might end it with Smeagol. Yeah, I'm just kind of assuming they'll want to end it on a high note, so they'll end it with like Sauron's death, or like just not death, but like
defeat.
Defeat. That's the word I'm looking for.
You really think they'll do a good job with that final battle, that 7-year battle at the marsh at the Black Gate?
I guarantee it's not 7 years.
7 years.
It's gonna be 7 seasons.
It's gonna be one day.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, it's like anytime they do Troy, like anytime they do that, it's like, yeah, we'll condense this 10 years into this one singular like week.
Well, at least that's a movie though.
I know. Well, I know, but like even then, like it's a 10-year war, but they like condense it all, and you think it like happened all within 1 week.
Yeah. Anyways, so let's wrap it up. Laurel, do you think this was a good episode?
Not really. I don't think it did much at all.
What about out of 10? What would you put it?
I'm not good at rating things out of 10. Let's see. If to be fair, I'd like 4.
Well,
That's
rate it
okay.
out of
fair
5.
rating.
That's even more
Um,
complicated.
1.
2.
I'm going to be generous just because I think this episode was actually better than a lot of its predecessors, because people actually got hurt, and that made me think, oh, okay, something that could actually happen in this show. And they're at least moving along the plot to get Halbrand up to Regian, probably to be Sauron and all that. And I just want that to start happening. I want to see him manipulate everyone. Anyways, so I
Yeah,
would give it
awesome.
maybe a 6. Usually it's been a 4, but I think it's 5 or a 6. Anyways, okay. So anything else to say, you guys, before we go?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Come back next week for the next episode. Is there 2 more episodes left? Is that what it
One
is?
more. One
Oh,
more.
Yeah, I
just
thought
one
there
more?
were only
Alright.
8 in
Yep.
season 1.
Okay, yeah. One more.
I mean, I
should
wouldn't
that.
know. I haven't watched it.
Yes, Darren, we know you haven't watched it. But anyways, thank you guys for Laurel, thanks for being on. Darren, thanks for being on. And
Thanks
everyone
for
have a
having me.
great night. Okay, bye.